right, y'all know what it is. Once again, it's that time of the month. That last Thursday of each month,
Yes, sir.
around 7:05, around that time.
Mhm.
It's the Man in the Mirror Show.
It's the what?
Man in the Mirror Show. And we call it it's the talk show that matters.
My man.
But it's really most important is we call it the THEE is because it's a personal journey. And so tonight, as usual, we have a great show for you guys. Old partner wasn't here last month, but this month is his it's his show to be the captain, to bring the show to us. And man, I just say with God, it always work out, right? God always bring a great show for us. We've been blessed.
Yes.
So that's the real captain of the ship. So tonight's show, before we do all that, we got to do our usual introduction. And to my left, that's my co-pilot. It's my main man, Mr. Nate Jenkins.
Hey family, welcome back to Man in the Mirror Show, the talk show that matters. We have a great show lined up with some great guests. Give you a little bit of backdrop of the show and the precipice of what it's going to be into tonight before we introduce our illustrious guests. I'll let Mr. Boo Jones introduce the gentleman to his right, and I'll introduce the gentleman to my left. But tonight's show is entitled Your Network is Your Net Worth. Basically, you are the company that you keep, right? When we think about net worth, people go straight financial. What's my profit and loss? What I got in the bank and all that. Well, that's a part of it. But let's talk about an overall net worth. What's your net worth to the world? Right? What you bringing, right? What you holding, what you securing. So we talking about mentally, physically, spiritually, then financially. Money is always last. It's never first, right? So let's talk about the worth of the individual themselves and how the people around them mold and shape them and give them the actual worth, their net worth. That means your entirety, your net worth. All right. So to my left, I have the industrious Mr. Anthony Lee Wright, a great friend of mine, socially inclined brother, resident of the capital of these United States. And we'll give him an opportunity to do a self disclaimer there. And Mr. Boo Jones, who do you have to your right?
Oh man, that's my main man. That's the one and only spiritual savant, Mr. Pastor Q.
Amen.
Right, all right.
And he'll tell you a whole lot of stuff because he's doing a whole lot for the kingdom. So he's doing a whole lot for the kingdom, man. And not a so-called traditional ministry, but is we talked about, me and Nate talked about this before in our huddle, talking about what substance. Yeah. Talking about it's got substance. Nate knows my history, and I started attending partnership with Pastor Q in the spiritual battle. And he knows, man, that's been one of my part of my story, right? So it would be a special environment for me to come and say I'm gonna connect myself to it.
Well, let me just say this, man. Knowing your story, I'm so glad that you got a spiritual advisor in your life. Because I remember when you was everybody else's spiritual advisor, but you ain't had no spirit in your life. You just walking around with a Bible all the time. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
And I still love you though.
But here's the piece, though. But here's the piece.
Yeah.
That's 3 decades ago.
Yeah.
So the journey. See, the journey is when you write. It's
all of it.
It's when it's the right time.
It continues.
Like we was talking about timing.
Yeah.
God got the right time.
You got the only time.
Yeah, but he sets you up. You know, you train for a long time before you get in the fight.
Yeah, you do.
So,
All right, so let's swing back to my left and have Mr. Anthony Lee Wright. Just give us
short bio.
who you are, what you do. You don't have to go too deep. You can go as deep as you like, but let the folks know who are you and kind of like give us a little bit about the people that help shape who you are, and then we're gonna pass it over to Pastor Q to do some of the same before we engage in the whole conversation.
Okay. Hey, so first and foremost, man, I'm honored to be here. Hey, thank y'all for inviting me to the show. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. You know what I mean? And I think I wasn't even nervous till we got to the table.
Yeah.
And the lights, camera, action. So I'm Anthony Lee Wright. I roll with all three of my names. And people always say, well, man, why you use your government name? I actually use my birth certificate name. You know, you need a birth certificate name before the government will recognize you, I think, but I might be wrong. So as I walk around the planet, my name is my brand and my brand is my name. So that's how I rock with that. So I tell you who I am. I'm 62 years old. I'm a native Washingtonian. Husband, I'm missing my wife right now. She out of town, man, so I'm missing my wife. You said you was missing your wife and you don't even have one. So,
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I have a healthy daughter who just moved. You know, Nate Jenkins down to San Antonio, Texas, from Hampton, Virginia. So I'm a father. She has 9 kids. She got all the babies. I got one. I work for the DC government. I'm in position to retire probably within 45 years. You know, I've been talking to you, so you're gonna help me get this business plan together. We're gonna get this business so we can handle this business. And politically speaking, so that's what I do. You know, behind the scenes, I love politics. I know it's greasy, it's grimy, it's low bottom. It's like hustling, except it's legal. And I like it, man. So that's where I'm at. But I'm honored to be here. And man, thank y'all for just having some conversations where I can learn. You didn't already put me down like Freddie Brown with 2 things that I'm taking to the house tonight. When we stop taping, I'm at the house running what y'all told me. It's 2 things. So I'm already jacking you for it. I'm gonna give you a shout out, but I'm gonna get that up off you.
That's what internalize that they was told to me. Internalize it, take someone else's idea and make me own.
Yeah.
So
thank you. I'm honored to be here.
It wasn't originally mine.
Yeah.
Trust and believe, that's a bootleg copy. You know what I'm saying? They say it's all right to be a copycat as long as you copying the right cat.
That's
You
right.
feel me?
I like that.
I took that one from you too.
For real.
Yeah. But look, on to my right, hey man, it's my honor to introduce this guy, man. Ever since I met this guy, man, and we're gonna get into a whole lot of stuff about relationships because that's what we talked about tonight too. So we're gonna let them say a little bit about yourself, man, and what you're doing, man. They need to know. You know what I'm saying? Because this was some flowers right here's a bouquet.
I appreciate you. So first and foremost, man, thank y'all for having me on the show. I'm Pastor Q, Pastor Quantrell Smith. I could be found at Quantrell Smith on Instagram, Facebook.
Well, we're gonna get at the end.
Okay, yeah. So I would basically say that Pastor Word Movers Ministry. I've been in the past that ministry for 13 years. My thing is, helping people spread the gospel of God, talking to returning citizens. I'm myself a returning citizen as well. So, just being, trying to be a difference maker out here, so that's just basically my story. And that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Keep it short and brief.
Short and brief.
Man, I'm going to jump out there with some questions. Right?
Uh-huh.
And we just going to have a dialogue. Ain't nothing scripted.
Okay.
Shoot from the hip. We try not to cross talk too much, but we're going to do some cross talking. We're going to respect each other's positions, right?
So don't take it personal when you get
if you do, it's okay too. So here's the thing, right? So, Anthony, you have stated that you like politics, right?
I do.
So shameless plug. If you go to YouTube, there's this little podcast called Politicking Like a Clock, Politicking Our Way with Nate Jenkins. Politics is my vibe, right?
Okay.
It's, I had a lot of vices in my life. Women, drugs, sex, alcohol, all those vices, but none of them trump politics, right? So I did a little stint at the White House and a few other places that kept me in the norm, and I worked with a lot of foreign dignitaries and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So when I talk about my net worth being in my network, right? There's some things that took this little creature called Nate Jenkins that was an urchin, right? A menace to society, and now got him to being somewhat of a grown man and responsible citizen, I believe. I try to act that way. Now that I'm doing that, I'm watching other people who run shows, push buttons. They call themselves politicians.
Right.
I assist some and I assassinate others. That's just what I do. So my thoughts to you are, in your walk of life, as you are engaged in politics, how much has your engagement in politics created your views of the world, but more importantly, how you move and your views of yourself?
Oh man, that's an excellent question.
I try to do what I do.
Right. And I can even tell, if you don't mind me saying, you done did a little background homework before your show. So my political engagement is more on a local level. You know what I mean? It's something about that being on the street. And you know, Pastor, I always run into this population called returning citizens, man. They're very heavy in that political game too. Local politics in DC, man. I run into a ton of brothers and sisters, and they are so knowledgeable, you know, just on a local level. So how it has, I watch how the local politician, I'm just using DC, but I'm also heavily engaged in gorgeous Prince George's County out here. I don't know nobody in the Commonwealth of Virginia, man, that do nothing. So DC, I'm the political liaison for my union, the American Federation of Government Employees, right? So DC and Prince George's County. I just watch how they cut people off and don't even let them know that they done cut them off. You know what I mean? Like they still, hey man, my dude, this and that, ain't got nothing for you when they leave, right? And if you watch how people move, it makes me become incredibly real. Like I just want to be so real that you can feel the realness. So when I came in here today, I felt everybody in this studio, oh man, y'all heavy with the realness. If you sitting at this table today and you faking in Monopoly money, it's going to be revealed. You can't be in this environment. You will be uncomfortable with the realness. So what has it done for me? Mr. Jenkins, if I may, because, you know, I usually call you Nate, but I wanted to, you know, step up my game.
You want to ride it.
Right.
You want to ride it today.
Yeah, I wanted to step my game up because, you know, I'm on your show with you and Boo Jones, you know, Boo Jones. So, yeah, man, I just, it's something about being as real as you can be, man. Like, I've just noticed that people that are well established and got that bag of money, sometimes, man, they don't know how to let their hair down and be as real as they can be, especially in that game. Because it's all about your image. You know what I mean? So I'm perfect for this topic today. Is your net worth your network? And is your network, does that make up your net worth? How do you feel about yourself when you ain't hanging with them people? Do the people that you hang with make you who you are? Or are you who you are by yourself? And when you get with those people, they can kind of like, you know what? Either I rock with him or I'm going to be fugazi with him. I get a lot of that. A lot of fugazi, man. You know what I mean? But you the dude that's in position or the sister that's in position to make moves, but I make you nervous.
You know, I gotta say something, because something you said that I think that should be reiterated. Talking about, man, being real. Like me hooking up with Pastor Q before he get ready to share his thing. Me hooking up with him, you know, on this journey, man, Nate know, they've been knowing me from the beginning of the journey I'm on now. So he know, right? On this journey of discovery. I gave a lot of people chances, you know, and then they couldn't pass the acid test. And the acid test is like, me and this guy, me and Nate been knowing each other over 30 years now, right? And we ain't always agreed, but we know each other's core of who we are. So we can come to each other and say, man, hold up, man, when you're doing that, that ain't cool. Or that one, but we don't think that you ain't cool. It's a character defect. So we can address it and not throw the baby out with the bathwater, per se. But man, and you said that when you know you can't come around the acid and you're not real, you're gonna get melted.
Well, I'm gonna say this to the athlete. It's like sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
Politics is a lot like sports. You got to understand what game you playing.
Mm.
I can't be in a basketball body trying to play football.
Mm.
It don't work.
You
feel me?
Yeah.
Real always gonna peep real.
Yeah.
Politicians are worried about two things. They come in talking about their constituents. They stay in raising money, and they leave richer than what they came. That's politics.
Mm.
And in the process of all of that, you would hope that they looked out for the masses. You would hope. That's real policy.
You would hope.
But the way that it's supposed to be done is that the constituents that put you in office, that raise that money for you to run, that put you in that office, hope that you effectively make some change for their lively betterment. But the realness is most people in office spend 60% of their time raising funds because they want to stay there, right? Because we don't pay taxes that contribute to people's political campaigns.
Yeah.
See, there's something wrong with the way that we run our politics, right?
Let me ask you this, Nate. What do that word, politic, sum it up in layman terms?
Politics? Oh, real simple.
Because you hear people say it slick way.
Politics is supposed to be the process of creating, mandating, and governing policy. That's what politics is, right? Politicians are the individuals responsible for doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
But in the process of doing those things, you have to be able to be there to do those things and to stay there to do those things. So the unfortunate thing is, in a democracy, we always throw out that the majority rules, right? All these numbers. But then the people who say, well, maybe the numbers aren't in my favor, in the background, I got to change some rules to make me stay in power. See, now we doing to that elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Okay. You got to, when I say you got to have, you can't come into football with a basketball body. Everybody got muscles, but you ain't tuned for this game right here.
Yeah.
You understand? You got to understand that these United States. You said something about local government. I'm glad you said that. Don't want to run too far, but most people don't understand that every 4 years we get in line to vote for a president who only sets the temperature of the nation. He don't make no laws. He signed laws. That's been agreed to by our Congress and the
It's
Senate.
every 2 years, on that.
Every 2 years, we vote in those folks that effectively govern our lives. If I ask everyone at this table, who is the most important politician that affects your daily life, I will guarantee you not 50% of this table answer correctly. Let's do this test. Who's the most important politician that governs your daily life?
Probably my ward councilman.
And
Is it the mayor?
Your alderman.
The man who affects your life the most is the one who put his hands on you and make a change in your residence.
That's your alderman.
No. That's your police, baby.
Oh, okay.
Your local sheriff, for those who have one.
All right.
Prince George's and all of those
one.
things. Hold on now, but you have what?
I have a
Chief of
marshal.
police.
You have a chief of police, but
Oh,
he's
chief of
not
police.
voted in.
Yeah.
Who's voting in? That your mayor.
Right. I think
In
he
fact-
said
Mayor.
Pastor
He
there.
said
No,
mayor.
but it's not unless you live in DC.
Yeah,
Where
I
you
live
live
in-
at?
I'm in
Well,
DC.
I'm in Maryland, but I thought,
Okay.
I'm from DC. That's why I said mayor.
Right.
It's locale.
So-
That's why he
so
said
that's
local.
right.
No, it's not right. That's
Right.
why I said local government.
Right.
So it depends on where you live. So he lives in DC.
With no sheriff.
His sheriff, he has a chief of police that's
Right.
appointed by the mayor.
Right.
The citizens don't have no say-so in it.
Right.
They just get an overseer. Sound like slavery, don't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
Then you live in a Commonwealth state where you vote on the sheriff of your county. That's on your ballot every 2 years.
Right.
2 to 4 years. You vote for it. You in Prince George's. So am I. We vote for the county sheriff every 2 to 4 years, right? Well, you on the moon, wherever you at. Okay, but you said Maryland, so I mean, Prince George is big enough. Ain't nobody looking for you. So, and if they looking for you, you playing the wrong game anyway.
Right. They know where you
I'm
at.
in PG. Come see me.
Yeah,
If you come correct.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So what I'm saying is most people don't understand how policy affects their day-to-day life. You need to pay attention to the joker that's closest to you, because you lose focus when you start looking at the Senate, the Congress, the president. All they do is set the temperature, set the policy, but that dude effectively acts on those policies.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying?
He
You ain't never
enforces.
seen a senator ride behind you in a car, hit the lights,
Never.
pull you over and lock you out.
Never.
You ain't never had a congressperson knock on your door talking about we got a warrant for your arrest. The president ain't never came seen you and wrote no executive orders with your name on it. He may do a pardon to get you off of your federal crimes, right? But that's the only time he ever gonna use your name, unless he gives you a way or stay on the death penalty. But he still got to send that to the governor of the state where you're about to be executed. And the governor got to get that to the AG. The AG got to get that all the way down to the warden of that prison to stop that execution. You dig what I'm saying?
They're the ones gonna come put their hands on you.
Exactly. So I tell all
I
of
got
my
that.
family, all my clients, there's some people you need to check in with every January the 1st. We make all these resolutions, but you better check in with your local police, because they can take you off the street. You better check in with your DMV, because they can take you off the street. You dig what I'm saying? And then you check in with your local tax folks, because they can take from you. Once you check with them, then check in with your spouse to make sure they are in those areas. Once you check those 4 things right there, you got a good year starting, baby.
Hey, Nate.
If you don't have those good things, your net worth and your network may not help.
That was a bell ringer, Nate.
Yes,
I
sir.
gotta get you.
Now, going to Pastor Q over here.
Right,
man.
right.
That's that
I,
same
I
question.
want to
Pastor
hit
Q.
you with the same type of question, but
Yeah.
in a different way.
Okay.
Now, Anthony said something about returning citizens. You say you are a returning citizen, so am I. And I can't tell anybody else's story.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm a
sure
returning citizen.
we all have returned from somewhere.
I did.
Even if we return from the moon.
I was there.
If we left this spiritual realm, we're all returning citizens, right? But there's something going on in the last 10 years that the DC metropolitan area has had more returning citizens from the federal penitentiary than any other locale in America. The reason being is because DC is not a state. Once you get past the level 2 felony, it's a federal charge anyway,
Yeah.
right? So we got more back per capita, more returning
Right.
people from the
Because
feds,
they all feel.
because they all feds, right?
What's the
So
question?
what that said is, the reason why Anthony sees all the returning citizens and why we all can have that connection is because of the way that our policy and our policy is written to start with, right? So as a man of the cloth and as a returning citizen, how much of your net worth, right, is dependent upon the network that you have around that returning citizen community?
Yeah, it's important. I always think of, like, birds of feather flock together. I think about iron sharpens iron.
Move up a little bit to the mic.
I mean, I think about birds of feather
You
flock
gotta get too
together.
close, but
I think about iron sharpens iron.
Mhm.
I mean, it's important to have people around you that help build you up.
Yeah.
People always say to make sure you're not the smartest person in the room.
Damn.
That's the thing about it. You never want to be the smartest person in the room.
That's
you
a
wanna-
bell ringer, y'all.
You want to be around some people you can learn from. I truly believe you want to be around some people who are truth tellers, as you say.
Mhm.
You want to be around people that make you uncomfortable. You don't want to be. When I say be around people who have more than you, we always talk about from a financial aspect. I'm talking about when I say more, I'm going to say more wisdom. I think, as a young guy, I always wanted to talk to a lot of the older guys because I know that they could sharpen me. I know that they had something I didn't have, and what they did have is experience. You know, that's why it was important to sit on the porch with your grandfather. You know, those days are missed, to sit at your porch on the porch with your grandfather, sit up under your grandfather, sit up under a man, and that's important. You don't really have. We're not, for some reason, and I'm not just going to say black men. Men are not positioning themselves for younger men to sit up under us. So, you know, I was telling somebody the other day, I said, man, we're really at fault for what you call the youth or the Generation X, because we haven't created a platform, or we haven't, like, my thing is like, Brandon, I was telling a guy the other day, if I'm outside of your local barber shop, where can I go to get help? Where can I go for wisdom? And that's found at the local barber shop. But now the barber shop has become tainted. The conversations in there, not even, you don't have men. And then with society, society has structured in a way that men can't even be masculine with other men anymore. You know, when I say feminine, I don't mean homosexual.
Exactly.
But every time you say feminine, people thinking homosexual. I'm talking about the masculinity, I believe, has been stripped from the coach. The coach, like I said, how a coach talked to the players in the 60s, 70s, 80s, he can't talk
do
that
that
way
now.
no more.
Yeah.
And because he's gonna hurt somebody's feelings, somebody's gonna be butthurt, as they say.
Right.
So men are not even, allowed to basically, flex masculinity or toughen up,
So we
because
don't have that tough skin no more.
we had a tough skin no more.
Yeah.
So now, made a great point with that, Nick. So somebody says, why is it so easy for a young man to shoot another young man? Because it's like we come from where Irma said, I come from your era, whereas I learned from your era. Let me sit and come here. I come from an era where it was okay to be picked on.
Yeah.
It was okay to slap box. It was okay to go to the body.
That's right.
And what those things
was
did,
mandated.
they built you up. So
Yes,
when
sir.
you did have those things, you didn't run in the house and go get a gun,
Right.
because you had already been built up for that. So now when they talk about single parent household, they talk about a woman raising a man to be more in a feminine, where he responds differently versus a man raising him. Because now if you do something to a man, first thing you're gonna do is go get a gun. Where he reacted different back then. Men, I mean, way too emotional now, because we don't have that tough skin anymore. And we don't have the tough skin because we don't allow men to sit up under other men and build character. So then now if you can't build character, as soon as you get a situation, then you respond emotionally.
We had a show about
Yeah.
that. We had a show about that a few shows ago about, and it came up as a statistic, right?
Okay.
I had asked the group, is it more black men in jail than it is in college, or is it more black men in college than it is in jail?
Now, I asked that question.
No, I asked it. You answered.
Yeah. 'cause
And
we did
the
work.
weird thing about it,
But what do you
it's
think
more
the answer?
it's more in college.
Come on, man.
Yes, it's more in college.
But the reason
But
why,
what the culture say?
but the culture, and like I was going to say, because I heard that question before too, Nate.
Yeah.
And someone,
We did that same
it's because of the news as well. Because the news show you
propaganda.
the news show you the incarceration versus how many who are in college.
Yeah.
The news, I mean, society has a way of always promoting the negative or the derogatory. So therefore it causes you not to be able to focus on, because there are more black men in college than they're in prison.
Exactly.
But it's just a way to,
It's like the rock in the can.
Like the rock in the can, yeah.
The can with the rock in it make the most noise.
Makes the most noise, exactly.
Man,
exactly.
I like to say this on that because that's a valid point, and that's what we do. We address the elephant in the room and man in the mirror. And one of the things about networking is having the right mindset, and that's what we're being fed. The kids are being fed. It's all right to be feminine. They're being fed that. I see it on cartoons.
Is that more of a Hollywood move? Is Hollywood influencing that?
No, we're gonna get.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
gonna get to the.
Okay.
We're gonna get to the elephant
source.
in the room.
Yeah.
The source.
But I'm talking about what's actually being done.
Okay.
It's being done, but it starts. And you made a thing about when you say government where the hands on, right? That's where it starts with us. I like solution stuff. It starts with hands on the parenting. The parenting done changed. Like I came up with a single mom, but if I came in the house talking about little Jimmy got me, she said, "Well, you gotta go out there till you get him."
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta go back out there and rumble.
Exactly.
Then I had uncles, even though they were struggling in certain areas, they told me how to fight. They taught you how to fight when you was young. So it's like, and I try to do that for my grandkids. You know what I'm saying? Like my grandson, he shot. I've been messing with him like that since he was little. He put them things together. I don't know how much he can take.
Yeah.
But he can dish something out. He can dish something out, but I don't know how much he can take. And that's what's been missing out. So I'm double down on what Pastor's saying.
So let's go back to the net worth
Mhm.
being your network. Okay. The network being the influences in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the influencers
And influencers.
in
Yeah.
our lives,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately for us as Blacks in America, African Americans, however you want to phrase it,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately for us of hue of dark skin on these American shores, we have never owned, controlled, or even made our own narrative
Mm.
because we've never held the rights to do that.
Right. Right.
We've never had the outlets to do that. We don't
Mhm.
own any of that, right? I'm gonna tell you about a grand plan. If I'm a planner, right? I don't plan just for the day. I plan for the future.
Mm.
So when I went to Africa and was looking for free labor, see, I wasn't looking for slaves.
Mm.
I was looking for free labor, but the only way that I can get that labor to be free is to put them into something called chattel slavery, which means I had to brutalize you into performing free labor.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, run that
Right.
again. You said what?
Chattel slavery. CHATTEL.
But
Chattel.
what did you have to do to get them to do that?
I had to go to the source of that free labor and get that free labor.
You called it something.
Chattel slavery.
No, brutalizing or something.
Brutalize. I had to
Oh,
brutalize you
okay.
into this free labor because I wasn't paying you. But my plan was cotton is king. Prior to that, it was sugar. Right? I got to be able to take this free land that I got and produce these crops. But me and my kinfolk, it ain't enough of us. We ain't made no money, but we got this land and this crop that we know can make some money. So I got a plan. I'm gonna get with my local government. They're gonna finance me enough to rent a ship to go to a continent that has all this available labor. We're gonna call it what it is, Africa. Okay. But when we get there, we can't capture enough slaves near the coastline. So we got to understand what they do. They are a warring and peaceful people. Most of the peaceful people are captured by the warring people. The warring people now own all the remnants. To the victor goes the spoils. The reason why that saying is like that is because the spoils are all those captured of your enemy. They're spoiling your economy because I got to feed them, clothe them, house them, and all of that. So they're a burden to me. Here comes this other group of folks that say, let me relieve you of that burden, but also give you enough other things that you don't have, like guns, alcohol, and everything else, and religion, so you can go out and capture more. It becomes a barter system. So now they ain't got to run and capture folks. We're going to deliver them to the coast, and you can take them off. So that's how chattel slavery began and ran, okay, to the early 1900s. It didn't stop in 1874. It went on to the early 1900s, okay? So with that said, that man who derived that plan, once they got here, he said, wait a minute, we can't let them group together. It's strength in numbers. Divide them and conquer. Send the mother over there, the son over there. When she have a baby, if she have a lot of babies, we're going to keep her. We're going to name her a breeder. She becomes this property right here. And every time she has a child, if it's a male child, Oh, we're gonna sell them off. If it's a female child, we're gonna keep them because that's a breeder.
More breeding.
But guess what? I still need to go to the Chases of the world, banks, City Corps of the world, Lords of London, which was the foreign banks, because there were no banks in America at the time. And we're gonna come up with this thing called mortgage. Right? Mortgage, the mortifying of age. So if you have a slave in 100 acres and she can have 10 babies, that's 10 acres per baby that they can farm. So I can loan you money against that proposition of those 100 acres. So the more slaves you have in the female kind, she can have 10 more babies. I can loan you enough money against their age, called mortgage against mortified against their age. That's where the term mortgage comes from. Now you think about the network. I get with other people like me, we do the same thing and we create this economy, right, in America. And we do all of our laws, all of our civility, all of our culture building and breaking based upon this system. Okay. Now get it up to today's piece. I'm gonna wrap it up.
But something you left out though, Nate.
What's that?
The governing piece, like the police and all.
Hold on. But that was an outtake of it. I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the system. I'm talking about the idea.
Okay.
Not how it was ran, but the idea. See, I'm all right with the idea taking fruit 100 years from now, because right now we're 600 years out from this idea. Actually, we're 1,000 years out from the idea because 1419 was when they first landed. We're in 2024. We're 1,000 years out, and that idea is bearing more fruit today than it did during slavery. You did? Because during slavery, I'm responsible for the feeding and clothing of these individuals. In 2024, they're responsible for their own feeding and clothing, but I still control them. I done offload some of that burden onto them people.
Yeah, I got.
They carrying their own stick.
We can't let them get by that, Nate. We can't let them get by that. You're not going on the
Yeah, right.
So like now.
So hold on, let me bring it back to our
system
network.
running on its own self.
Right. So our network.
Yeah.
Right. And our network. You talked about not being able to talk to the youngest, not having tough skin. So what they did back then was they made us more emotional than manly. Because in the motherland, the man ran the growth of the children. He stayed home. The mother did a lot of the hunting. Just like the lions. We duplicate what we see. We saw it in the animals, we did it. We bring them here, they switch roles. The mother's the nurturer. We go out and propagate, make babies, no connection back to the home front. Now we want all of a sudden Black men to raise up and be these providers for the home front that they were never connected to start with. We the only people that got to give ourselves a different cultural name every 20 years. We went from Negroes, the Blacks, African American. You bring an Italian in here, first thing you're gonna say is, I'm an Italian American. I'm from Sicily. I ain't saying I'm a Sicily American. I'm from a country. We're the only people that don't have the identification. So we allow people to give us our identification. What we are now,
what we call
we are still struggling with their plan. So we're becoming more educated. So what we got to do, if I'm the man with the plan and y'all rising up and becoming educated, I got to do what? I got to make you a returning citizen. The only way I can make you returning is to take you out of the picture in the beginning. I got to put you in a situation where you got no other choice but to break the laws that I set. Look at the 13th Amendment, second paragraph. What do it say? When do you lose citizenship? When you become incarcerated. So the 13th Amendment said, I'm gonna let all y'all Blacks be citizens because I need your numbers. Vote for me, set you free. But as soon as you break the law, you work now back for me, not in chattel slavery, but in slavery. Okay? Look at Angola prison, the biggest and most dangerous prison in the United States of America, Angola, Louisiana.
So you basically now we're on the same page, so you basically saying what's put in place and how it's being operated.
I didn't disagree, but what I'm saying is our net worth is in our network. What we don't do is collectively network.
Yeah, everybody individual.
Now, during the times of our existence here in America, Every time we network, we have success. Think about
but that's
Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
That's a network. Some folks got away. Everybody didn't, but some folks got away. Think about education. Think about the Grateful Eight, the Divine Nine, all these organizations and people. Every time they get together, we have success within us. But what happens is the outer body, which is our oppressor, who owns the media, they give us our culture. First of all, let's understand there's no such thing as the black culture. That was given to us, which means they control it. So we go from preaching in churches, being our culture, to twerking on TV. You understand? They promote whatever rapper, music, or whatever that we digest.
And I got to touch on that. That's why I said I was drawn to come and see, because I said Nate know my story. I live with during the times in the past. I don't live with pastors, deacons, you know what I'm saying. And I used to teach Bible study, but I didn't know, like I said on your platform, I didn't know how to perform it. So I had to go to another institution to get to my feet to line up with my words.
So you increase your network.
Yes, I increased it. Yeah.
Which increased your net worth.
Yes, it definitely did. And it still is.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, but what happens is what Nate was saying, when they give you what they give you, you know, it's not even in the word that they giving you. You know what I mean, that we got, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I know that about the truth is something about your spirit. You know the truth in your spirit. So most people who talk about the Bible ain't read the Bible. I'm telling you, most people who talk about it, they ain't read it. They ain't read it.
Snippets.
They ain't never investigated.
I want to toss the ball over to Pastor Q with this right here. Network being our network.
Mm-hmm.
Every social injustice and social unrest that we've been successful at somewhat has been driven by the black church.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You go always back to civil rights movement, all those movements. We learn how to read and write by sneaking into the church as slaves to learn how to read and write.
Mm-hmm.
The church has been monumental in our growth, our network.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only thing that the white man would allow a little black dude who knew the Bible and could read and write. They'll send them to other plantations so they can teach them to be subverting slaves. But they ended up teaching them how to run away, be reading and writing. They built the underground, all that good stuff came from the black church. Look at today's situation.
What's it doing in the community?
Look at what's happening right now in this political climate. Who are they utilizing to get us to swing to the right Republican Party?
Church.
The black church.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to control the black people, they know where they put the power. They put the power in the black church.
Right.
They know where the seed they planted. So what they do, they make laws that says the richer you are, the less you pay in taxes and so forth and so on. You pastors can be rich from those poor congregations. Yeah. And we want you to now tell your folk that we the right people to roll with. And gonna split us right there in the middle.
Again.
They only want to see us during voting time. They don't want to see us no other time.
You know,
but it's the same plan that the dude had when he brought us over here on the ship.
And the thing about that is, Nate, like I said, most people haven't really did no soul searching with that, right? And I did a group at work the other day. I tried to call you too, where we, you know how I do it, right? So when I do my group in the morning, we usually pick out a topic, and it was one's perception. And that's where there's a lot of things going on in our collective, networking, right? It's everybody got their own far-fetched ideas, and they coming to the table with it, right? And still looking at facts, because they deal with percentages. Trust me. When you talking about the governing party, they do the facts. They deal with percentages. When they send somebody off the war, they say, what's our probability of success in this war? That's what they say. They say, well, we may lose 60%. That's not good. We gotta. But
then they say 60% of who?
Yeah, I'm talking about their own man. I'm talking about their own man.
No, even in their own rights, they want to say, if I'm gonna lose 60%,
what's gonna be? Yep.
60% of who?
Yeah, is it gonna be the frontline guys, or is it gonna be our generals?
It's always the infantry.
Yeah, infantry. But I'm
It's
just
always
saying
the
though,
infantry.
they do the percentages, right? And what we don't do is we don't come together, man. And listen, I don't care whose plan it is. If it's Nate's plan, but it's a fact and it's a good plan, we usually, cause we
need to run it.
We need to run it.
But you know why we don't run it? It's the same reason why there was always one person who gave us the plan. Nat Turner had a great plan.
Yeah.
He's gonna get them guns at Harper's Ferry and take over, run some stuff. He got all the way to Harper's Ferry only to find out the white man was there waiting. Why?
They told.
One black dude. There's always one.
Always one.
We sick, boss? Is we sick?
How we feel, boss.
How we feel?
Right.
It's always one slave that say, I'm not running with y'all out there in that wilderness. We don't know what's out there, but I know Massa feed us every day.
Right. He give me them scraps.
He might whip me. He might whip the hell out of me. And he might be giving me scraps, but I think it's Chef Boy ID. You understand?
He owns it, does it because he loves it.
Because he loves it. All right, now check this out. And beyond his fist is some crazy shit that he don't want us to be involved in. But I want to run this to you, Pastor, because you're a man of the cloth, right? And I understand you might be a little unconventional or more modern in you know, the way you address your flock and so forth and so on because of your life's experiences, I would guess. It's only a guess, right? Correct. But I would say my question to you would be, when we thinking about our network, right? We look at those that we're closest to, that feed into us, we feed into them. But have we really kind of sit back and said, there's a plan against us? What kind of plan can we devise, or I devise, right, as a leader of men and women to kind of counterbalance what I viewed as a plan? And if you haven't done it, there's no right or wrong answer. But what are your thoughts on that premise? And I'm gonna ask you the same thing from a political standpoint.
I'm gonna say this, and I don't really care to have a correct answer, but for some reason, man, amongst what I see out of all cultures, it's hard for the black community to stick together.
Yeah,
and it's all other cultures stick together. Bill, you know, it's like perfect example. And I'll just use it because it's just relevant. This P. Diddy situation. You would never see, you know, Caucasians bring down one of theirs like that and come against them and make the jokes and things like that, as we do. Yeah. We don't stand like that.
We don't let it play out.
We don't, we don't
judge it off the top.
We don't judge it off the top.
I mean, even I know where he's coming from. Listen, he ain't saying that we let it play out, but you'll never see them jump on the bandwagon and dog them.
Yeah, like because the thing about it, what I was saying in church the other day, Nate, is that you know, P. Diddy, he's not the pioneer of the freak off. Hugh Hefner and all them guys been doing these things. He has basically copied something that we know. He copies them. That's like, you know, Michael Vick copied dog fighting from that. Yeah. Anything that we're doing, we are not the inventor of it. We're the fall guy of it. Because we got it from somewhere. Anything I believe in life we do, we got it. We got it from some, nothing new under the sun. So we got it from somewhere, you know. So when I look at that and I look at the people, and it's like when you try to get, to me, and it's just like me, you try to get black men together, or our people together. It's a real damaged culture.
I'm glad you said that, Pastor.
But it's a damaged culture, and it's almost, it's crazy because you have to, you know, you only get, and I only like to have these type of conversations with people of maturity who can hear what I'm saying, because, you know, it's like the phrase or term Black Lives Matter. I don't really think we understand. It's like, you know, do as I say, not as I do. We don't really believe Black Lives Matter. We say it, but that's not something we don't act it out.
We don't live it.
We don't live it. We say it. And so when we watch the news and we look at our community, it just, you know, I've seen, you know, Caucasian people, different cultures with Black Lives Matter, that the lives of blacks are more important to them than it is to us. And then going back to what you were saying, because they,
they ain't got an investment in,
they're
our
an
lives,
investment
man.
in our lives. So thank you. You helped me with that. So when I see a Caucasian say Black Lives Matter, it matters because of the investment.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter because of the fact that he care
love
about,
us.
he don't love
Yeah.
you. But when you, and the thing about it, when you see somebody say Black Lives Matter, you think they love blacks, they love what they have invested in. And the thing about it is that when I see it, I'm trying to work with and deal with people, and I see how our people deal, you say, man, this is, and it goes back to what you were saying from slavery. The culture itself has been banged up, abused, and it's almost, and I hate to use this term, man. God told me the other day, he went down to the shelter, and what do they call the dogs that come in? Not a stray, but it's a type of dog that you go get, not like a rescue. This is a rescue dog, okay. And I was looking at what they call a rescue dog, and someone, goes down to the shelter that says, I'm going to get this rescue dog. This dog's been in this fight. He's been on this thing. And now someone brings him home and wants to retrain him. And it's almost like, this is in our culture. This is like when you're trying to work with us, it seems like you're dealing with a rescue, because we've been dealing with beaten and battered,
all that trauma.
And because of the trauma, it's almost like, and I don't have a lot of time, but Nate, I'm just saying, it's almost like when you think about what Willie Lynch said, how they break us.
But
It's crazy because we've been broken so much that we can't communicate, broken that we can't build. So even if me and you do go out and try to do something, it's broken.
I'm glad you said that, because, just to reiterate, right, you said a lot about our current condition.
Right.
The reason why we can't fix our current condition, because we really don't know what it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me dispel the myth of our current condition. I said it earlier, and you just reiterated it. The culture that we call ours,
it's not ours.
It's not ours. It was given to us.
Exactly.
It was given to us with brokenness embedded in it as a part of it, with separation embedded in it as a part of it. So when we recognize, dive into, and promote and live that culture, there is no success for us.
let me ask you this.
But let me finish. But because we don't understand how to recognize and build a new culture, right?
Yeah.
That we don't have the masses. So when you look at a W.E.B. Du Bois, when he talked about that great society, when they made the Divine Nine, there was hope that we would have a culture that showed the success and the progress of Black people, right? But what happened was, that was a very small community starting with the Niagara Nine, right? So when those 9 people got together, they had to go across into Canada, right, to have that meeting. They couldn't do it in the United States. They crossed from Buffalo into Niagara, okay, to do that. And when they came back, is when they started the propagation of building universities, which we now call HBCUs. But they were using land grants like the Whiteys were getting to start these universities. But we were supposed to get so much more money than we've ever received. That's why our HBCUs are closing down every day. Only because they keep educating us and putting us in a position to have conversations like we're having right now. This is dangerous to the oppressor.
Yeah.
You understand? So when we talk about a P. Diddy situation, yeah, he copied something. I was involved in that type of situation. I'm gonna say that. I knew Sean when he was Sean Combs at HU.
Right.
When he hung around with certain individuals, I won't name them all, but we had parties, and they evolved into some of the things he's doing now, but even worse. I'm not responsible for the freak offs,
Right.
but he knew how to start a party because he learned it from party throwers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But what happened was, as we get up the ladder, we start emulating. This happens to politicians every day. We start emulating those that we're striving to be like. We don't investigate thoroughly how they got there, why are they there, and how are they staying there. We just want what they want, so we try to do what they do without the right investigation. So when you say who helped and all them did it, they did, but they had a network that covered them. You understand?
Yeah.
That's why Jeffrey Epstein was able to last so long. He had kings and queens and politicians in place. You understand? He had a network that created his net worth. You feel me? So now you got a guy like Sean Combs in prison right now. See, the charging documents don't say P. Diddy. They say Sean Combs, right? You got a brother, just like you can name all the politicians from Marbury, Jack Johnson, Trayon, okay? Today now, Adams in New York.
The man.
You can put all these people in one bucket and say, you tried to do what they do, and they smacked your hand.
This is what I was gonna say.
Because you can't eat from a plate in a restaurant that you can't afford to be at. Because your network didn't give you enough net worth
Right.
to do those activities with shelter.
Right.
You understand?
Wow.
So let me ask you this,
Wow.
because I've been trying to ask you this, because you
Wow.
hit on a whole lot of things, but one thing that stood out. So basically, like, man, look, I'm gonna give you a puzzle with no picture of the puzzle, and all the pieces ain't there.
No, I'm gonna give you a puzzle with all the pieces there, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm not gonna tell you is what pieces go first,
Not the structure of it.
not the structure of it.
Huh.
But you so into trying to emulate and be a part of that you forget the investigative process. If you ask any brother, and we've all are returning citizens, what happened to us prior to committing that crime? It was a good idea. It was a thought. It was an action, but we did without any investigation. Because if we had done the proper investigation, we would have looked at the consequence
Everything.
to ourselves, to our families, our loved ones, our community, and we may have decided that weighed a little too heavy for me to do that little thing.
The price too heavy.
But see, we jump into things without investigation, without proper investigation.
Proper investigation.
See, the people that get away with crimes, they investigate the whole thing. They say, if you painting a picture, make sure you cover every corner. Don't just paint the middle of the picture because it's incomplete. The picture won't sell.
But you said something else too, Nate. You're talking about the foundation and the structure that they have that we don't have. You're talking about the people who can cover for them.
That network.
Yeah, that network.
The network.
Right.
So going to you, Mr. Anthony Lee, right?
Right.
And you're talking about
Anthony Lee.
when you're
Anthony
talking
Lee,
about
right, yeah.
when you're talking about your local politicians, right?
Right.
The thing that they touch is the direct lives of their constituents.
Right.
But when they get in office, they realize that 60% of my time is going to be building on funds so I can stay in office.
Exactly.
The other 40% got to be meetings, writing law, policy, backing it up, getting people to vote for it, exchanging more dollars. So I'm really only working for my constituents 18 to 20% of my time here. If I play the game right, I'll be here as long as I want to be. Because power corrupts. I get drunk off power.
And absolute power corrupts absolute.
Absolutely.
Can somebody hit the bell?
Absolutely. So here's the thing. There is no more corruption than local politics.
Okay.
Hit me with that.
No, I agree.
Because the network, when our black politicians who think they're in a black town, because our numbers,
Right.
we now 60-40-ish, right? 60 them, 40 us. It used to be 70-30 us. It ain't that no more, right? We can argue with numbers all day, but we know this ain't Chocolate City no more. It's a chocolate swirl. Okay, but now our network. See, this is why Marion Barry was able to be the mayor for life. Because he had a network of constituents that had worth in this locale that he governed. So even though he went to jail for smoking crack, when he came out to run again, he didn't get up Northwest and ask for no votes. He said, I need all of the black people who own property, who like the summer job policies. I took them youngins off the street.
That was
I reduced recidivism.
That was happy.
Returning citizens got educated. I took care of my people, like they said in that movie, because art duplicates life and life duplicates art, right? And one of my favorite films, a guy said, man, let's go down to DC and sell them drugs, because DC was happening. That's what Alpo said, and paid in full. And what the AZ said? He said, man, we staying in Harlem.
Yeah.
Because Harlem took care of us, and we're going to take care of Harlem. Bumpy Johnson said the same thing. See, they knew their limitations. They knew their network was their net worth. And they stayed and died on top. When Mayor Burry passed, he was still considered what? The mayor for life. And every mayor after him is weighted against him. And he ain't here no more.
Okay. So I wanna start by saying, man, you done dropped enough pieces, so I'm trying to absorb all of this, right? Cause I swear I didn't know that I was coming to a school, a classroom tonight. I ain't know that.
That's what we do.
I'm saying, listen,
we do results.
Yeah, we deal with
the man in the mirror.
Sure, not the,
This podcast, I'm telling you, number one, if you ain't real, don't show up. Number two, if you ain't open, don't show up.
That's right.
Because you gonna get schooled and learn here. So
thank you.
and man, that's real talk, man. I like how y'all get down, chop this thing up, man. And I'm sitting here with, if my mouth ain't open on camera, it's open on the inside. I'm like,
You know, Amber Lee called a couple of bell ringers, y'all might get seen.
right. So I had to, you gotta hit the bell because they dropping it heavy. So I think one of the things you asked me was local politics, you might even made the statement, is the most corrupt. I would agree with that. Because you are on the ground touching people, right? It's amazing because last night I'm just flipping through my 900 channels on a Fire Stick, right? And I see that, and it was in the channel that broke it was Fox News, you know, breaking news, mayor of New York indicted, right? So I go to sleep.
Hold up, say it again. It was who?
Fox.
Now, why was it Fox? Just before you get started. Because Fox is Republican propaganda. It's owned by Rupert Murdoch,
right?
Who by chance is not an American citizen, but he has the strongest American Republican right-wing outlet. He's Australian. He's Australian. You know what Australia started out as?
No.
A prison for England. The majority of the white folks that started Australia were released prisoners.
And so is America.
Oh, no. America was started from criminals evading prosecution.
Okay.
Australia was started by folks who they returned to citizens. They just weren't returning back to England.
Right.
They let them stay there in Australia.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
But
So what I'm saying is he got a stake in a Democratic mayor going down. That's why it was breaking news on Fox first. Because they looking for every downfall that we have.
I don't
Go
know.
ahead, proceed.
Go ahead, I don't know if y'all see. I pay attention. I don't forget. You know, like a lot. I noticed that the world, a lot of people forget what happened a few minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? Man, I came in and inspected all the black people, and then the next day, you know, they have a go-go and they don't forget. So that's the point I made. Did y'all know when Obama was running for office, Fox had the torches out for him the whole time. Even when he was in office both terms, Fox had the torches out for him.
But why though? Why? The oppressor needs to be able to have communication to those being oppressed. How else can we oppress you if we don't educate you on your oppression? Go ahead with your bad self.
Hey, Mr. Jenkins.
Go ahead.
Man, you dropping it heavy, Slim. I'm gonna cover up because you going to the body of it. So locally speaking, and it's amazing because DC don't have we don't have term limits, but gorgeous Prince George's does. You know, one of the running jokes in DC is, you know, Jack Johnson was on TikTok before TikTok became popular
Exactly.
because Jack Johnson got caught in the TikTok liquor store
Mm-hmm.
years ago,
Yes, sir.
right? TikTok liquor
TikTok
store was
liquor
big.
store. That's right.
Yeah, so
They were the biggest cash checkers
they were.
in Prince George's County.
Right. It was TikTok liquor store, then
But,
allegedly.
but who, not to cut you off, but who cashes checks at a liquor store more than anybody?
That's right.
Black people.
Black people.
Because we don't trust the banks with our money.
Yeah.
But we're going in where they make us pay by 10% liquor to cash that check. You got to spend 10% of it on liquor before you, come on, go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man.
So on the DC Council, it's 13 members. It is, as we speak now, it's 7 Black and 6 white. All it takes is 7 votes to move legislation.
Mm-hmm.
So if all the Black elected officials vote together, we can move legislation that can impact Black people and do more for us. But we know that's not going to happen.
Wow.
And then I would love to venture to say on your show that I think I know why, but honestly, I don't.
I can tell you why.
Go ahead, brother.
You said it's 7 blacks and 6 whites.
It is. That's a total of 13.
Mm-hmm.
7.
Man.
So 7 votes move the legislation. 9 or more, the mayor can't
But you just
veto.
asked for the impossible. You asked for 7 Black people to look out for Black people before they look out for themselves.
When it was 7,
Right.
Okay. Okay, I ain't gonna give you those numbers.
You ask 7 Black people what we know of ourselves and what we know of our culture. You asking 7 Black people to do something for Black people
Collectively.
before I do for myself. Now understand that some of them Black people on that council don't all come from Black areas. They don't all represent a Black ward. They have to take care of their constituents that got them and keep them in office. If I'm from a mixed environment, guess what happens in a mixed environment? And you know this about local politics. The people who own property are Americans. The people who don't are renters. Renters don't set policy. Renters live inside the policy set by owners. If I'm in a ward where there's more white owners of property,
Excuse me, Nate.
I don't care if I'm Black or
Let
not.
Amity go ahead and get him one in. No, let Amity get him one in.
I don't care if you Black or not. If I'm representing the majority of white folks as my constituents, my color don't have nothing to do with my vote. Because for me to stay in office with no term limits,
Yeah.
I gotta feed those who feed me.
So it's interesting you would say that because Councilmember Trayon White, who represents the great state of Ward 8, as they call it, the least and the last. Matter of fact, it's
The
coming
largest,
up.
though.
It is the largest, and it's coming up
Hold
real
on.
big because that's all that's left to develop in DC.
Come on. Now.
Okay,
Right.
wait a minute, ho. Go ahead, what's your point?
Okay,
Slow down.
So that's all that's left. So now that
All
allegedly,
that's to do what again?
that's all that's left to develop
Uh-huh.
in Washington D.C.
Uh-huh.
All of that has come to Ward 8, the great
Mhm.
state.
Mhm.
And this brother with locks that stands up on Alabama Avenue giving love back to his constituents, right, is now under attack. They have pictures.
Wait a minute, don't say under attack, under indictment.
Okay, so indictment.
Get it right.
I want to use the proper verbiage
Say it right.
because so he has been indicted. And what's interesting is Kenya McDuffie, who is an at-large council member now, has been tasked with investigating him for the council. So Kenya McDuffie is an at-large member who represents the entire city, which is no longer predominantly Black, to investigate a council member of a ward that is the least right? The poorest ward is the poorest ward, then followed by 7. But it's just an interesting dynamic that he was chosen. But you need the bell back.
Hey, because I'm getting ready. We're gonna have get ready to have a guest come on.
Okay.
Okay. But let me just say
one thing. I know you got another
Let
point.
me just say one thing, right? Now, when you made some great observations about Ward 8, but I want to put some meat on that bone. Ward 8 is the last frontier for development. It is the poorest per capita, not by income.
Okay.
Okay. The reason why it's the poorest because there's less homeowners in Ward 8. You can't count renters in the worth of your city or your state.
Okay.
They don't have any stake. They don't pay property taxes. That's where the money comes from. So if I got a bunch of renters, I might have 1,000 people that make $1 million, but they renters. I can't count their $1,000 in the bucket. They only pay income taxes. They don't pay the taxes that make the city run, which is property taxes. They don't determine how many books going to the school. They don't determine the quality of teachers in the school, because all that's determined by property taxes. So when you say Ward 8 is the poorest, what we really are saying is they contribute the least.
Okay.
But they have the most people per capita than any ward in the city. So in the democratic process, you would think their numbers would count more, but renters don't vote as much as homeowners do because they don't see the worth. They're not connected. Their net worth is not connected to the net worth of the city. We got a caller coming in.
There's someone here, but her picture is not on.
Oh, okay.
Can we hear?
She has to have her device on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so whoever that caller is that's trying to come in, you can call us directly at 301-761-1040 to be on audibly, or if you have the link to come in, you would need to come in on the link, but you need to have a camera and all your devices up and running so we can bring you into the StreamYard properly. Okay, so if you're not camera ready or your equipment is not ready, please join us by telephone only at 301-761-1040. Okay, let's get back to the conversation with Mr. Anthony Lee talking about Ward 8, right? Because it's very important. And this goes for all locales. We got to understand how this game is set up. If you don't know how the chessboard is set up, you can't play. You can act like you're playing, but you'll never win. Okay, so we got a black brother charged with investigating another black brother, but that brother charged with the investigation represents the wholeness of the city.
Now he does.
Now he does.
Right.
Okay, before he didn't, but now he does. So his seat's a little bigger. His pants are a little bigger, his pocket's a little fatter. Okay, but now you have a gentleman that's under indictment for doing what the other Caucasian guys have been doing forever. So here's the thing, like the Jack Johnsons of the world, the Marion Barrys of the world, so anybody else that's been in politics, you got to understand, just like during Reconstruction, we had more black senators and House of Representatives than anyone at any time in the history of America directly after slavery. It was called Reconstruction. They couldn't vote those brothers out, those sisters out. So you know what they did? They murdered them. They went around the country and killed them physically, murdered these folks. Those who they couldn't kill with scandal, they killed physically. And guess what? No prosecutions. Then they came over with Jim Crow laws. So they said, we can't let this happen again. We can't let the House of Representatives and the Senate be overrun with these people that we're supposed to be oppressing. We can't do that. That means we got to give them some things that they're not supposed to have. Equality, opportunity, all this rhetoric that now Kamala Harris is using as a part of her campaign. Opportunity economy is what she calls it now. So what does the media do? They go in and say, how you gonna pay for it? Not is it good for you, but it's gonna run up the future debt, not today's
You
debt.
talking about the $1 zillion bill?
You gonna run this up. My
Shoot.
grandchildren gonna have to pay for this. But when Trump gave away all them taxes, ain't nobody talk about how the grandchildren got to pay for that.
Because
You understand what I'm trying to go?
Here's the hit, though, Nate. Let me
But the oppressor was winning.
this is the thing.
Pooh Jones said the hit.
Here's the hit.
Give him the hit, Pooh Jones.
The game and all its rules was made for me to win, not for y'all.
You set the plan up when?
Yeah,
Way back
yeah,
then.
the game is not made for y'all to win. You just part of the pawns on the board.
So why are we playing the game we can't
Let me explain it. I'm glad you said that. Let's look at the game called chess. Because life is chess. It ain't checkers. We pawns. But what happens when the pawn get all the way to the other end of the board? What he turn into?
A queen?
Which is the most powerful piece on the board. We got to stay in the game long enough to get to that last rung. So now we can get some power that we can go start taking other pieces off the board. The problem is, as we're migrating down the board, we run into adversaries who look just like us. Other pawns. We run into other pawns who take us out before we get down there. Because the powerful moves, the kings, the queens, the bishops from our adversary, they out there making power moves. They not watching that pawn until the end of the game. When the pawn get too close, then we're going to knock him off. Because now he's trying to act like one of us. The Trayvon Martins, the Jack Johnsons, the Puff Daddies. You see, you can't be a pawn and act like us trying to get to that last rung. Because see, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the Bill Cosby get down there. I'm going to let the Oprah Winfrey get down there. I'm going to let Tyler Perry get down there. But hold on.
No, they wasn't.
I let Bill get down there, but guess what? When he became a queen, when he became powerful, he started plucking off my pawns, my white women. He started dipping into a pool that he had no invite into. So that means what? I got to do two things. I got to annihilate him from the whole pool.
Nate, now I know you know this. He been hitting the white women. They ain't kidding about that.
Hold on.
Let me tell you this.
Man.
I'm gonna tell you what I know. That happened to be my godfather, but I'm gonna tell you what I know. Go ahead.
So was he not getting ready to buy the network, Channel 9? That's not true?
Channel 9?
Channel 9.
You mean CBS?
I mean CBS, yeah.
Okay.
No, he was in a partnership to buy, but he
Buy
wasn't buying
CBS,
it.
yeah.
But that's not what did him in.
But that's power.
That's not what did him in. Because guess what? If that was the case,
Man,
you know who
start
owns
writing
the biggest piece of NBC? A black woman. The same chick that owns Radio 1, Kathy Hughes, owns the Channel 4, NBC, right now. But why we don't know that?
Because that'll give you some hope.
Now,
That'll give you some hope.
we don't want to know that because you done made it to the queen wrong. The black pawn and made it into being a black queen now. We got to move discreetly. We got to sneak up on folk. We got to run things the way the game is played. We got to run things for my betterment. Because now I'm one of you. I'm a power broker. I'm no longer a pawn. I got to operate like you operate.
So
But I can't mimic you. I got to stay in my lane.
It's still in the
Have
system.
you, wait a minute, but have you seen her under any investigation?
It's
No.
because
The answer is
still,
what?
No.
Wait a minute, hold on. The answer is what?
No.
Because she knows how to do what?
Be discreet.
She know how to play that game.
You know how
She
to move.
understands her place in this on this board. You dig what I'm saying? She's the black queen. She didn't get there and become a white queen and try to play the white game. You understand what I'm saying? She went from WOL to Radio 1, one of the biggest radio syndications in the nation. Owning an NBC affiliate, National Broadcasting Corporation. You can't get no whiter until you put that word national in front of it. You understand what I'm saying? So if you notice things like the adoption show Wednesday's Child, where we spotlight African American children currently up for adoption, and we try to find families for them. Where's that airing on? NBC. Okay. That's where I got my 2 sons from. So I'm living this journey, not just talking about it. You understand what I'm saying? So when we talk about Radio 1 and their promotion in radio, you'll find out that all the music that plays on Radio 1 stations, when there's curse words and so forth, they are beeped out. But if they're on other Black affiliate stations, they are not. Because they ain't playing that game.
Paying attention.
They're not playing that game. Now, Alfred Liggins, which is her son, who runs that, understands that his net worth is his network. So when she turned it over to him, he had already built a network of Black power brokers that had infiltrated all these other media outlets. They got their own thing on.
So Nate, what you're saying basically is they strategically have a plan for their success.
They have,
So
whether it's planned or not, they have a network that increases their net worth, that in hope that we would get something out of it. Now, if you look at it from a media standpoint, where do we get most of our negative media from? NBT, NTV, BET.
Right.
We don't get, no, they give us negative viewing, but I'm talking about where we get our Black propaganda, the booty shaking, the cursing, all the shows that show us in a bad light, Hollywood, Potomac, this, that Black show, that brothers, sisters, whatever the shows are, all those network shows that show us in an incredibly different light. They're all played on networks like the Black Entertainment Network. It used to be owned by Mr. Johnson and his wife.
Yeah, Jack.
They sold that to a company called Viacom. And the ratings went up, and the material and content got more raunchier and showed us in a more negative light because it went from education to entertainment. Okay? So now, when we look at news affiliation, does BET has a news show? They do, 1/2 hour. 1/2 hour. For all this news that covers Black people.
So what do you think about that, Pastor Q? What do you think about, what Nate been talking about? What's your view on
that whole net worth, as it pertains to those people?
I need to make this clear.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gonna have their own. And one good thing about, like I said this earlier in the show, one good thing about Man in the Mirror, man, we have our own view, and we might not necessarily agree with another person's view, even if they got facts. But we will come around to the elephant in the room, and that is if that's truth and it's being actually done, then man, we gotta
address it and try to put a solution.
Try to put a solution to it.
No, everything they saying very informative. But like he said, I'm pretty sure he know. It would be good if what he was saying could be on the bullhorn, but it's in the privacy of rooms like these. And the thing about it is, I hate to say it, that a lot of people be killed and boycotted and muted because of the things he's saying tonight. And they only say it on, and not diminishing or valuing this platform, but this is something that needs to be heard, but it won't be heard. You know what I'm saying? And
that part.
You know what I'm saying? These are things that something, and the thing about it, these are things that need to be heard that won't be heard. And the powers that be know that. But if somebody will say these things are not being spoken, they are being spoken. But it won't get the shares, it won't get the likes.
It's funny you say. I was just thinking that too.
They won't. I mean, this is something that someone would share as informative. We all sitting here, and we feasting off, the information that's being given, but it's not falling on the right ears.
I'm glad you said that, because here's what it is. We're in a time of social media.
Yeah.
Social media is run by a thing called algorithms.
Algorithms, yeah.
Right? The things you watch the most will feed you more of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So when a show like Man in the Mirror pops up on your screen, you'll see these brothers and we might have an engaging conversation. You might watch us one time, but if you subscribe, it goes into your algorithm.
Yeah.
And it'll start bringing up shows like ours.
Like ours, exactly.
Okay. My show, Politic and Our Way, been out there for 7 years. One of my shows got 761,000 views.
That's good. Yeah.
2 months later, it was on no algorithms. Because I got an opportunity to go on CNN as one of those talking heads.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But before I can go on, it was the same day that Donald Trump announced his presidency and he came down the escalator.
Mm-hmm.
My segment got bumped off.
Yeah.
Right? I was never invited back. Right? And as much as I have talked and been on the air in the open airways, being a never Trumper and all of that, being the Republican of the year in 2006, being an E-captain in 2008 for the Democrats, doing all this political work on the national stage, plaques galore. Folks know who I am. But I don't feed the narrative for their greatness. Just like this show does not feed the narrative for our entertainment.
Right.
Our people want to be entertained. They don't want to be informed because
Sure.
our culture.
Stop.
Yeah.
Like, say that. You gotta say that.
Yeah, our people want to be entertained. They don't want to be informed.
That's church. Exactly.
Because our culture has said to us, we get more pleasure out of being entertained than being educated. What do I do with education? It moves me up in the wrong of life. What do I do with entertainment? It makes me feel better about where I'm standing today.
Yeah.
So
And I'd rather feel good than
It'd be
be.
yeah.
And here's something on that note, Nate. We confuse feeling good with doing good.
We're doing good. Now, getting back to our topic, and I'm glad you brought that up. Our network is our net worth as a human being.
Right.
So I try my best to surround myself, and I'm glad you're here because I'm adding you to my network. I try to surround myself with good people. And when I say good people, I don't mean people doing good.
Right.
I'm talking about people that are good within themselves. Because I got some shady folks in my network,
Yeah.
but they good people.
People, yeah.
They might not be doing good actions. The people that in my network that are doing good actions, that ain't good people, they're not in my network. They on the fringe. See, they're called associates. I'll associate with you because there's a blessing for me and my people in you, but I'm not bringing you close. See, I don't like that thing, keep your enemies close.
I've never understood that.
Because see, what it's saying is, if I keep my enemies close, I don't have to watch them as much. But here's the real fact of the matter. If I limit the amount of enemies that I have, I don't got to watch nobody. I'm free to move as I see fit. And I'll address my enemies as they show up. Because if I'm trying to address an enemy that I don't even know and don't even see, I'm taking time away from the beautiful blessings I could be educated on or bestowing on someone else.
And you know, a lot of those cliches.
That's some third eye business right there.
A lot of those cliches are not true. You know what I'm saying? But we have adapted them, especially in our culture.
But where they come from, they was given to us.
They was given to us. Like I give you one. They know I say this one all the time. It's not what you do; it's how you do it. That's not true. It's definitely what you do. It's never how you do it. Tell me a good way to be a baby rapist. Ain't no good way. I had to use that one as street.
It ain't no good way to do a bad thing.
It ain't no good way to do bad, man. It's no good way.
So the question I would have, if everything has been given to us, when do we stop accepting what's given to us?
Come on.
Oh, let me tell you when. Let me tell you
I'm just
when.
asking, man.
I'm gonna answer that question for you.
I'm just
I'm gonna
asking.
tell you when. So there's a stone that has 2 dates on it and a dash in between. The first date God gives us. That last date God gives us. That dash in between is how we dance. That's called life. When do we stop doing that? On that date, that new date that God gives us. At our death. Because that's the truth of the matter. Because during life, you live the way you've been conditioned to live until a new condition shows up. Okay? And it has to show up for all that is governed under that condition. You cannot be in an oppressed society thinking that the oppressor doesn't exist. Okay? You got to know that he exists and move accordingly to have some relevancy in that oppressed society. See, we waste too much time trying to end oppression. We need to understand what the oppression is, who the oppressor is, so we can operate accordingly.
But that goes with a plan of action.
But that's the plan of action.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I can't change the Constitution.
Right.
We can fight for amendments to it, but every time they give us an amendment, they shoot a curveball in the second statement that sets us back to where we came, because this is their game.
Yeah, that's their game.
So what we got to understand is, as long as I'm playing your game, how do I win against a chess master?
They invented chess.
I got to understand how he moves first.
Hold up. They invented chess.
He invented the game.
Yeah.
That don't mean I can't beat him.
Oh, hold up. Hit the bell on that.
Go ahead, Nate.
That don't mean I can't be the chess master, because I've beaten one before. I luckily beat one before. So here's the story.
What's the percentages?
Very low.
Okay. So
And how did
I'm
he
saying
act
that-
when you beat him? How did he act?
He was real humble. Now here's the thing. I'm at a mall. The mall just opened. It was called. It's not doing very well now, but it's right there in District Heights, right? When that mall opened up, they had 40 chess boards in a square, and they had a chess master, this Russian dude, playing against 40 people at one time, and I was one of the people. I was the first one to beat him. Because what I did was I didn't wait for him to get to my board to plan my moves. I watched him play 39 people. And by the time he got to me, I already surmised what he probably would do with what I'm doing. Because ain't nothing new under the sun. 2-3 people that already done had their board set up like mine. When he got around here, I said, oh, he can ready move that bishop over there. Ain't gonna let him stay in that corner till I move away, and then he gonna creep down and take my rook. I seen him do it 2 times to the other 2 people who board looked like mine. Time he got to me, guess what I did? I stuck a pawn in front of that rook instead of going chasing after that bishop. He looked at me and went to the next person. Time he got around, I knighted, switched it out, built a corner wall. Time he got back around, I sent everybody at him because I had already built my house. Time he got back around, 2 more moves, checkmate on you, player. He shook my hand and smiled. They gave me my little $200 certificate that could shop in any store in the mall. And guess what I did? I left and went shopping. Because had I stayed for the next round, he was going to smoke my boots. Because he was the master of that game. You don't get that many chances at the master. You understand? That's why people who hold on to their wealth, right, play the game. Junior Bridgman. Do anybody know who Junior Bridgman is?
Play basketball.
Play basketball.
NBA, yeah.
But more importantly,
He won the richest.
he is the 3rd richest basketball player in the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
Do we own fast
And he
food
did it.
restaurants?
He did it without endorsements.
I seen the show on him.
He
the other
owned
day.
restaurant,
He owned
fast
restaurants.
food restaurant.
Fast
Yeah.
food restaurant.
But what he did was he got in early and multiplied them out. He said, I don't need your endorsements. I wasn't that good of a player. I was a role player. But what I did have was name recognition and credit. I played y'all game. I let you use my name recognition so as long as you give me that credit. And I build underneath you. And after a while, I was so strong that your brands gave me money. I never put my name on your brand.
They never seen him come.
Never seen them coming.
I seen the show on the other day. Yeah. They never seen Junior.
Never seen them coming. So,
Oh, you know who talked about him? Stephen A.
but guess who talked about him more than anybody? Shaquille O'Neal. You know why?
Was it?
Because
Shaquille
he
was on that
retired.
thing. I think
When he
Shaquille was on
retired, he thought that only Michael Jordan and LeBron James was richer than him. See, the report came out and said, no, Slim, you're number 4. Junior Brisbane. He's like, who the hell is Junior Brisbane?
'Cause he wouldn't-
His network gave him his network.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't know who Dave Bing is.
yeah, you know Dave Bing.
Anybody know who Dave Bing is?
Yeah, yeah.
Basketball
From
player.
DC.
Basketball player from
mayor
where?
DC.
DC. He was also the mayor of Detroit.
of Detroit. I think
Guess
he went
what?
to Spingarn.
Bad boy.
He went
and
to
a Hall of Fame.
Spingarn.
And a Hall of Fame.
Hall of Famer.
One eye.
Yep.
Dave Bing has one eye.
Can hoop. He in the
He
top
learned how to
75.
adapt.
He's in the top 50.
He learned how to adapt that one eye.
Bad boy.
But what happened to Dave Bing? Where he get his money from?
That I don't know.
Bing Steel,
Wow.
owner, CEO. Bing Steel. When he went to Detroit, what you make cars out of? Before
Steel.
aluminum. Steel. He took that NBA money and invested in himself.
Bad boy.
When he ran for mayor in Detroit, they jumped on him. All the whiteys gave him money. Why? They wanted those contracts that came along with that steel industry to build the cars. His net worth came from his net worth.
And see, and then these are blueprints. Let me say this, though, Nate. What you're talking about, these are blueprints because the system of doing those things don't change. They
It
work.
don't.
They work.
It worked for all of us.
It works.
So the system is the system.
System
No
is-
matter what color your skin is, the
Exactly.
system
It's the
is the
blueprint.
system. It's the blueprint.
But
Yeah.
guess what? Here's the thing. For us that are a member of the oppressed society,
Mhm.
there is an inroads for us into that oppression. But the issue is identifying it, cutting your path, living your path.
And being willing to
And
endure.
it starts with your network.
Yeah.
If you're around a group of responsible, industrious people, by nature, you'll become responsible and industrious.
I'm gonna say this to the people because on that note, and that's right. This Nate, like you said, Pastor Q said that one of the things you say all the time. Am I the smartest man in the room? And what?
Yeah,
I'm in the wrong.
I'm in the wrong room.
So listen, this is very important because unity, we always talk about that. In a nutshell, that's what we're talking about is unity.
Mhm.
We're talking about being able to, everything on a team has its own place. Everything in this watch, this stuff ain't just thrown in the watch. It's in a certain place for the watch to work.
Hey, can they see your watch, boo? Because it's fly. Yeah, it's fly.
Got the madness. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, the
He putting that-
madness.
He putting that brand out
So,
there.
so,
Okay.
so, and that's another thing, man. I mean,
Universal,
I
man.
support all of them. I just like, man, it's a little better, but I support everybody. Everybody that's in the DC area that does hip hop gear, because that's what it is. Let's keep it real. I support them. I support them, and I support the people. See, because it starts with me and ends with me. We can talk about it all day, but if I'm not doing the footwork, I go to go-go, right? And I take pictures with everybody, not just the guy who's a legend or whatever they call him. I take pictures with the little girl, just first go-go or just anybody.
Just
right?
starting off.
Just starting off, or just in the crowd, don't nobody know him or don't know him. You know what I'm saying? I'll take a picture with him. And the reason why is because that's part of unity. That's part of it. Because all we got is memories, but it's up to us what kind we make.
Let me just say this. And you asked about, and I think you alluded to how we do this, right? Okay. When you say if you're the smartest man in the room, you in the wrong room. You gotta have one key element in your character. It's the same key element that allows you to grow. It's the same key element that allows a seed to break a leaf, a stem, to reach up through that dirt and
pat it down
go through
ground.
all that patted down
Rocks.
ground and rocks
Yeah.
to reach up for the sun and grow.
Yeah.
All of your wealth, be it financially, spiritually, monetarily, or whatever, our net worth has one ingredient that we as men, not just black men, struggle with. And the more we practice it, the better off we are. And you don't have to agree the numbers, the statistics, the livelihoods of those people who've had some level of success in life. It all just shows through. That word is humility. If you have the seed of humility and you're the smartest man in the room, you got to be humble enough to seek out a group that's smarter than you. You dig what I'm saying? The seed knows that I thrive in the sunlight, but I got to be humble enough to tell that dirt, let me through.
Cause I know you gotta let me through.
But then once I get up there,
Yeah.
and I'm thriving in the light, guess what the seed gonna do? He gonna flower and drop another seed.
And let me say this, and you talk about that process. The beginning of it is the seed grows down first and catches a good root. It's got to catch a good foundation, and that's where I think a lot of times.
But hold on, you say the seed go where?
Go down first.
So how do you go down? You got to be what?
You gotta be rooted and grounded.
You got to be humble.
You gotta be humble. So yeah, you gotta be humble. No, I was getting ready to say what you said. I was gonna double on what you said.
I'm with you.
I was saying the humility piece is that process.
Yes, sir.
Because without that, it don't work. You know, you ever say, well, man, the car is a nice car, but it don't got no battery in it. You gotta have a battery in your car. I don't care what you got. I don't care. Even the electric cars gotta have the part where the energy, the charge for the electric car. If you don't have it, then it ain't gonna work.
I'm gonna
So
send this over.
humility is that piece.
I'm gonna
And
send
I
this over
double
to
down
good
on it.
Pastor Q over here, right? I know we've been kind of
Oh no, I'm fine,
right,
man.
but no.
So
I want to
roll
hit
up.
you with this, right? I respect you. I just met you, but I respect you because of what I know of your journey and what I see as your future. Prognosticating over here,
Okay.
right? You've been able to sit there in a posture of being humble,
Very
Right.
humble.
right? I have never seen a man, particularly a black man, gather any masses and grow without the seed of humility. But when they lose those masses, it's when humility is evaporated, right? Charitable goods now become necessities. The tithes now become my income, right? My good deeds now become the coat that I shine under. See, all of these things, I'm a politician, right? But I gotta find a way that I gotta get something for myself out of
That's
the
when you're
deal.
lost.
See, I'm losing my humility.
Yeah, because
So they say, ain't but two ways to live. Either under a posture of being humble, or you'll soon be what?
humiliated.
Humiliated.
Really,
So
yeah.
every time that someone loses their posture of humility,
They become humiliated.
they become humiliated.
Let me say this for the show.
I'm taking this to the pastor.
Let me say this for the show though, because I want everybody to know this. Because you got to remember, we got people watching. We are not a race bashing or anything because we're concerned because we're addressing the elephant in the room and the squeaky wheel. The squeaky wheel get the grease, and as the squeaky wheel
We put some grease on that.
yeah,
motherfucker.
that's us. That's what we're doing. We putting grease on the squeaky wheel. So that's cool.
So what I'm saying to you, Pastor, I'm prognosticating. I'm looking out into the future
Okay.
and your relevance and seeing everything grow for you on your spiritual journey. Because I see you living and walking the path of humility.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
I see you sit here, participate, right? Absorb and listen, right? Same with Mr. Anthony Lee Wright over here, right? Now, for me at 63 years old, and this is not to toot my horn, just tell you my story. I've been in some of the darkest and dirtiest places that you could be in the world, not just this country. Live there, spiritually, mentally, physically, financially. And I've been at some of the highest places that you could be in this world. So I'm speaking from someone with a sage type remnants when I say I see the humility and the growth possibilities for a gentleman like yourself.
Yeah.
Because
So
I'm
you blowing
giving
the
that
trumpet.
to you.
You blowing the trumpet.
I'm giving, not so much giving you your flowers, but I'm
Right,
giving
right.
you a warning.
That's right. That's what I said. Blowing the
Okay.
trumpet.
Yeah.
Right? I'm
right.
giving you a warning that as long as you stay
Mm-hmm.
within the bounds of your own humility, not the one that's issued you,
Mm-hmm.
but the ones you create for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
meaning stay true to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Prosperity is abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Abundance,
Spiritually,
Yeah.
spiritually,
monetary,
physically, the whole thing.
the qualm,
It's
the
abundance.
qualm,
Mhm.
the qualm
Right?
of it.
The only limit that any man sets for himself is his height of his humility.
That's a good word. Yeah.
You
For
know what's
you,
funny?
Mr. Wright.
Hold up, before you go. We ate dinner the last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that not what I said at the table?
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Two
confirmation.
people say it can't be wrong. So here's the thing I'm gonna throw at
Hold
Mr.
on.
Wright.
Can I ask one question?
Go ahead, Mr. Wright.
So who paid for that? Go ahead, Nate.
So here's the thing.
Oh no. That's a good question. He paid the very first time we went to eat, and then I paid the second time.
Yeah.
Okay, that just means both of y'all
Powerful,
got money. Hey, for me, all y'all is paying for mine. I'm gonna tell you like this.
They
Right?
owe me money.
So here's the thing, right, Mr. Wright.
what you guys say?
I know you live in a positive humility because I know you in other walks of your life.
Yeah.
But as you grow and develop into this business aspect,
Mhm.
as you grow and develop into your walk of politics, understand that those who lose their humility lose everything. You've seen it, you witness it on a daily basis. You've
Yes,
seen it in your ward, now you've seen it in other cities, you've seen it in our culture, right? But the hardest thing for a black
Mhm.
man to do is to stay humble. Because see, there was this guy called Mr. There's a guy called Mr. Bojangles.
Mhm.
Back in the day, Mr. Bojangles was a hell of a dancer, right? And they paid him to dance. But as his knees and ankles got weak from all that dancing, he continued to take money till he started falling over. But he continued to take money. He didn't have the humility to teach somebody else how to dance.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying?
And hold on,
And
stop
then he
right there.
died,
Stop right
but he died as a pauper.
Wow.
So now
there. What should
it went from
what should he have done though, Nate?
he should have taught somebody else how to
Okay,
dance
okay.
and then manage their dance.
That's
He could
right.
share it in the wealth.
That's right.
But here's what happens. In life, you hear somebody say, man, stop bojangling.
Mhm.
Mm.
What they saying is, you fumbling your humility.
Mm.
You bojangling.
Till you be-
You not living up to the expectations we have of you that you shown us in the beginning.
Yeah.
Your time has passed.
Mm.
Be humble enough to share the wealth so you can remain wealthy.
Then let me say this.
Don't bojangle
Don't bullshit.
with the blessings that your creator has bestowed upon you. If he puts you in a network, get some net worth out of it, then explode it and share it like that seed coming up.
Hey, Nate Jenkins, that was a great word. And I want you know we had and you know him too, Lucky Elliott.
Yeah, yeah,
Coach,
yeah.
right? Man, Lucky, let me tell you about Lucky Elliott real short. Lucky Elliott came up with a system. He coached rec football. And it was great competition. I'm talking about I think back then they had over 20 racks in the city, Alexandria. And he came up with a system. He started coaching at 14 years old. So he coaching people his age almost. And he came up with a system of everything. In the same system he had for the 85 pounds, it was ran the same system for the 110 pounds. And all the championships is 90% Charles Houston under his system. All the and I'm just saying that to say I've been thinking about, like, he's still living. We had him on the show.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking, this got to be passed on.
Mhm.
When they said that, that's what I thought. So I'm gonna call him, and I want this to be on record. Man, you got to pass that system on.
Well, he
man.
already has, because
Yeah, he passed it
everybody that
on.
he coached now coaching his same system.
No, they not. And that's the thing. They not, Snake.
They're
They
coaching
not.
the remnants of it.
But it's got to, listen what I'm saying. You leave out this certain flavor in the soup ain't the same.
Right.
You gotta have the recipe, Nate. You just ain't
Yeah.
me and you cousins, and grandma used to make a certain soup, right?
I'm gonna take her soup and add my little
Yeah,
thing to
yeah,
it.
but here's the thing though. But if I taste it, I said, man, something missing out of this joint, man.
Or too much of something in there.
Or too much of something
too
in it.
much.
He was running the same system. It was successful. It was generations. My uncle, my uncles, and all of them played for him. And I played for the same system where he taught the coaches. I played for a coach that he taught, and the coach that taught the coach with him, because he had retired from coaching when I played. But look how long that's been. It's been like, man, at least when I played, it was at least like 5 decades. And we stayed winning championship. We was playing against our own legacy at some point. And it was great competition. Don't get me wrong. It was great competition. Where your ex come from, we played them in the championship 2 times. So it was great competition, right? But Nate said something, and this for everybody, not just for him. Man, that needs to be driven home. Because that's what he was talking about. Pastor Q was talking about when they're not sitting under us. See, because the oppressor, he know the importance of legacy.
I'm glad you said that.
He know the importance of legacy.
And you making a point about, here's the thing.
You know, you gotta
In the beginning, I said this man made a plan that 1,000 years from now, since that plan was involved, it's winning.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
His system hasn't changed,
it ain't changed.
just the players.
Yeah.
But the system hasn't changed. So if you want to know how to win in that system,
Mm-hmm.
you first need to investigate it,
Yeah.
understand it,
Yeah.
find your role in it, and be humble enough to stay in your lane. I'm gonna get out of Rudy P. Stay in your lane and be fruitful at what you do. Because once you cross into someone else's lane, like driving,
Crash.
that's called a crash.
It is.
You understand what I'm saying?
And
The
listen,
best
it
race
is.
car, the best racing car drivers stay in their lane until they cross the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
So you asked about chess and checkers. The difference is checkers is a game of chance. Chess is a game of life. You live chess.
Mm.
You plan moves 2, 3, 4 moves ahead based upon what you see on the board and what you hope to come to fruit.
And then whoever
And
you playing
checkers,
against-
you only react to what the man did last.
And then whoever you playing against, there's an emotional part of that game and a mental strategy, because they're the one making the moves. So like I play spades. I love spades, right? And people think spades is so elementary. Man, my family, spades is a bluff game. And sometimes you think we bluffing, we not bluffing. So it's a more of a mental game if you really understand it. We count cards. I know what you would play. I can almost tell if I'm sitting here and you bid. I don't care what you bid. I can almost tell in a couple plays who got the power, who don't. And I'm watching body language.
Because you know the game.
You know the game.
But you was humble enough to do some investigation.
Had
prior
to,
the game.
had to. And to
So-
learn from somebody.
So we talking about not changing the system, but doing better in a system that we don't own. We need to investigate and invest in our contributions to that system. So those who should sit under us, that come behind us, if we're in a posture of humility, folks won't be afraid to listen to us and sit underneath us. But because we are lacking the ability to communicate in a humble stance, ain't nobody hearing that. Because now we're in competition with your success. You understand? And the last thing that we want to be is in competition with another man. We always want to be in front of or on top of, because we are the oppressed. And that's what the oppressed strive to be. Hey man, that's the end of our show, man.
No, it ain't. We got a whole
It ain't-
hour.
We got a whole hour.
What are you
I thought
talking
we was
about?
at it. Oh, you know what?
Just 1 hour.
I'm tripping.
You is, man. You ain't been here. See, that's another
That's
thing.
another thing.
That's
I ain't
another
been
thing.
here no
When you
more.
won't come,
Well, wait a
Well,
minute.
you-
That
you
is
been-
the end, Slim. What are you
It's
talking
2
about?
hours, yeah.
We at the end. That clock wrong as a mug, Slim.
Well,
You tripping because
Well,
I've been
I'm
here.
looking at the clock.
Look here,
All right,
man.
well, listen.
This is the man in D
We still,
mirror.
hold up. You still tripping because we got 5 minutes.
We got fun. And then we got an answer to this, right?
Yeah.
So we'll
Wrap
be
it up.
back here, same bad time, same bad channel. The last Thursday of the month,
Hold up. We got.
7:05 is the start time.
Yeah.
We want to thank our illustrious
Let
guests.
them get their plugs.
Yeah, we want to thank our illustrious guests. And if you got any place you want people to meet you, be at, social media connection, anything, we're going to start off with Pastor Q.
Pastor Q, Quantrill Smith on Instagram and Facebook. Sunday service every Sunday, 6400 Oxon Hill Road, Oxon Hill, Maryland, Harborside Hotel, lower level from 11 to 12. We have service. So that's where we at.
Excellent, my man.
So I'm Anthony Lee Wright again, man. I'm honored to be here, man. Y'all broke this down like a shotgun, man. It was all love and respect. So I don't have no social, but I got an email, man. I'm gonna drop my email. You know what I mean? So it's all lowercase, Anthony Lee Wright 84 at gmail.com.
All right, all right. And you know where you can find me, right at Man in the Mirror the last Thursday every
Come
month.
on.
But you can also find me on Instagram, Politicking Our Way. You can find me on all social media at Politicking Like a Clock Our Way, all one word. And if you want to go on YouTube and see some of my previous dialogues and podcasts, it's on YouTube, Politicking Our Way. And it'll come up and say either Dennis Johnson, who's the promoter, producer, or Politicking Our Way with Nate Jenkins. Either way, you'll see this humble face there trying to give out some humble pie. And I'm gonna give it over to Mr. Jones.
Boo Jones.
Well, I'm gonna say it like Def Jam's founder. Thanks for coming
Coming out, and God bless.
And God bless. Go ahead.